You can listen to The Front on your smart speaker every morning. To hear the latest episode, just say, play the news from The Australian.
From The Australian, here's what's on the front. I'm Claire Harvey. It's Monday, August 12. Former Prime Minister Scott Morrison will be cross-examined by counsel for Brittany Higgins when he appears as a witness for the senator suing Higgins for defamation, former Defence Minister Linda Reynolds. We'll have live coverage from the WA Supreme Court all week at theaustralian.com.au. A 27-year-old woman took her life after debt collectors for the National Disability Insurance Scheme pursued her over a $28,000 debt. That's according to her parents in an exclusive for The Australian today. Australian Olympic boss Anna Meares has lashed trolls for mocking breakdancer Rachael Raygun Gunn after her startling performance in the last days of the Paris Olympics. So, where does the responsibility lie for an Australian athlete's global humiliation? Every Olympic Games turns up a folk hero. We've had Eddie the Eagle, the British ski jumper, who in 1988 finished a resounding last, but became a crowd sensation. Or Eddie the Eel, who in 2000 Sydney Games swam the slowest 100 metres freestyle in Olympic history, one of his first dips in a 50-metre pool, to a roaring standing ovation.
Well, I thought I'd seen everything in the Olympic swimming pool.
Speed skater Stephen Bradbury, who I would defend as a master tactician, but who Australians embraced for the pure dumb luck of winning a race after everybody else fell over.
Bradbury way off the pace, and Lee is now the challenger for Ona. Lee coming up on the outside, but Lee has gone down, and Bradbury, who is in the perfect spot, skates over the line. Australia's first ever Winter Olympics gold medal, Stephen Bradbury, is the champion.
And now there's Raygun. The 36-year-old university lecturer with a PhD in breakdancing culture was Australia's sole female team member in what the Olympics are calling breaking, a new sport in the 2024 Games, very unlikely to reappear in future.
Raygun representing her country?
Raygun was terrible. Terrible in the way you or I would be terrible at breakdancing or pole vaulting or gymnastic ribbon dancing or judo or weightlifting. That is, we would be normal. Normal levels of coordination, normal levels of skill. Nothing wrong with that. But does normal belong at the highest levels of athletic excellence? To be televised live to an audience of billions? I chatted to our sports writer Will Swanton, and I've got to warn you, we got a serious case of the giggles during this interview. Will Swanton is a sports writer with The Australian. Will, you were at the Place de la Concorde when Raygun made her international debut. Tell me what you thought when you saw her come onto the stage.
Oh, just that name, Raygun. Now, I've never heard of Raygun. Like, I actually, not being the world's most experienced breaking reporter, not exactly know. And I actually said to my mate sitting next to me, "What time is Gun Ray on?" It's not Gun Ray, it's Raygun. So sitting there, and they introduced the 16 B girls, as they're called, and they don't like being called athletes, apparently. They're all B girls in breaking, and they're all wearing, the Americans and the French and the Japanese, they're wearing their funky hip-hop clothes, and then Raygun comes out in the Australian team tracksuit. All right, and that was the first time I thought, what's going on here? What's this? The first thing I thought was Alyssa Healy and the women's one-day cricket team. It just like it looked like the cricket uniform at the North Sydney Oval kind of thing. But that's all right. And I literally thought she was going to get changed before she came out to compete. Like she was just in her trackies. So they have one-on-one battles, as they call it, which is basically just a dancer, like Zoolander and that kind of thing. So she came out and you couldn't say she was breaking like the rest of them.
First came the judge's verdict with 0. Then came the social media verdict.
I'm trying to see, they said somebody mama hopped out the soccer van and came to the stage and went crazy.
What is going on here?
So imagine you from Australia and you done lied on your Olympics application and said that you know how to break dance. Bunny, rabbit, kangaroo, one of those two. I got moves, so what you gonna do? I'm a worm, y'all.
I have a feeling that maybe we're not taking the breakdancing very seriously.
She did a thing though.
She did. Mama turned up though.
Bro, her moves. This I say. I love her originality though.
Yeah, for sure.
I love her.
It's definitely stuff you ain't seen before.
At all.
Did you think at any point, is this a spoof or is this a joke? Or did you know from the very beginning that actually we were seeing someone who was just not of the same athletic standard as the other competitors?
So she qualified through the Oceania Championships. She's the reigning Oceania champion of breaking. So she earned her spot and she won. So there was a tournament and the winner got to go to the Olympics. And I'm fascinated. I can't see any footage anywhere of her in that final. Like, I didn't think it was a spoof. I just thought that it's funny. We're all trying to find polite ways of putting it, but she just wasn't up to that standard, like remotely up to that standard.
After the event, but before it all went sour on social media, Rachael Gunn came out to speak to the journos.
Just a lovely woman, and she was thrilled with being part of the Olympics. I just wanted to do it my way, and it's been such an honour and what a treat. And breaking might never be here again, and it's just all been so much fun. And we're looking at her thinking, oh my gosh, she's got no idea yet of what's happening on social media. I think it was probably a bad look for the Olympics. I don't mean just her performance. I just think breaking didn't suit the Olympics. It didn't fit the Olympics.
I love Rachael, and I think that what has occurred on social media with trolls and keyboard warriors and taking those comments and giving them airtime has been really disappointing.
Anna Meares, the boss of the Olympic team, complained publicly that trolls were being unkind to Raygun.
She is the best breakdancer female that we have for Australia. She has represented the Olympic team, the Olympic spirit, with great enthusiasm, and I absolutely love her courage. I love her character, and I feel very disappointed for her that she has come under the attack that she has.
And I think we could probably agree that some people have been unkind to her. But, doesn't the AOC and Anna Meares have to take some responsibility for putting Rachael Gunn in a position where she was going to be humiliated internationally? Don't they bear some responsibility for that?
I'm sure Rachael is probably shattered. She was trying to give everyone a bit of joy. But there's also, from Rachael's point of view, for any athlete, if you're willing to step up into something as big as the Olympics, there's the chance that you could be praised from the rooftops as some kind of sporting hero, which everyone's happy to do. But for any professional sport, or once you step out there, you're up for praise, to be mocked, ridiculed, criticised, told how great you are, told that you weren't great. So that's all part and parcel of it. There is definitely a part of it where if the AOC sends an athlete out there, there has to be some recognition of this is Olympic competition. It has to be taken seriously. But I think they do have to accept that once you become an Olympic athlete and you're in what was a high-profile event, you're up to be judged.
Coming up, it was an otherwise stunning Games for Australia. So how did we do so well? In a fortnight, it'll be the Paralympics, where everyone has an incredible backstory. We'll have all the action 24/7 at theaustralian.com.au for our subscribers. We'll be back after this break. Olympic Games usually follow a pattern for Australia. We start very strong in the pool with gold medals and Advance Australia fare coming from all directions. We all love week 1. But in the Olympiads of recent memory, weeks 2 and 3 are a little less spine-tingling as we watch Kenya win the marathon, Sweden win the high jump, and China win everything else. By the closing ceremony, Australians are cheerfully celebrating a 16th place in the sports we know we're not very good at. Paris has been different. The golds have kept coming in sports we don't normally prosper in: road cycling, skateboarding, BMX. This Olympics Australia has done incredibly well, mind-blowingly well. So what's changed?
That's incredible. I think one thing that has happened, a lot of other countries have become stronger and they've started taking medals off the powerhouses as well. Even at the swimming, you get some, it's not all America winning the swimming. Well, my impression is across all the sports, a lot more nations are winning medals, which are taking some off Great Britain and taking some off France and taking some off Japan. So the top 2, America and China, are miles ahead. And then the rest of the top 10 is a bit of a bunch. And we've just snuck through. But like the men's doubles tennis at Roland Garros, it was a classic. But they were John Peers and Matt Ebden, a couple of 36-year-olds who live on the same street in Perth. Wives are best friends, kids play together, all that kind of stuff. Unseeded doubles players in a field that had Rafa Nadal and Alcaraz playing together and all that kind of thing. And that was just the unlikeliest gold medal. And it's lucky for Australia that the swimming is the first week because it's everyone on a high from night 1. So Ariane won gold that first night and the women's relay won gold that first night. So Australia's got 2 gold medals the first night. It's all celebratory back at the village. Whereas I think if swimming was week 2 and if we had the aths the first week, we'd be down and it wouldn't have the same. But I think they all fed each other off a bit. The impression I get is that they just had a ball. They're in Paris. The whole backdrop is one of the great cities in the world. They've done incredibly well. I think Anna Meares is, even in the way, I think she was a bit off the mark with defending Ray Gunn because like some form of comment was always going to happen once they sent her out there. But I think in a way that was also an example of Anna just cares deeply about all these athletes. And I'm sure the way she is around the village, just constantly encouraging them, she's done great things as an Olympian. So they've got someone there who's actually done it, who's spurring them on. The impression I get is that she's whipped up this fantastic team spirit. And I think that's been part of it. But Anna and Everett, they should be incredibly proud of themselves.
Will Swanton is a sports writer with The Australian. You can check out his reporting right now at theaustralian.com.au.